Thank you to Alexander RHH for their generous donation on Patreon. Hello everyone, my name's Vivian, and welcome to something that caught my eye on Wikipedia a while ago, and I figured I would talk about it because why the fuck not at this point? I'm no constitutional scholar, but the idea of a founding document being fetishized to the point of every politician having to claim that whatever the fuck stupid corrupt bullshit they're doing would be sanctioned by some slave-owning fucks from hundreds of years ago, aka the founding fathers. I think that shit's disgraceful and is disgusting on so many levels that I couldn't be more distasted from it if I fucking tried. So I think it's all the more important to remember how not set in stone our governing documents are. A lot of stuff has changed about how the government is run since we have started. Hell, even the United States Constitution, that's not our original governing document. We had the Articles of Confederation before that had its own set of presidents before George Washington. As stated right here, there's been approximately a fuck ton of proposals, 12,000-ish, to amend the Constitution. Most of those are stupid motherfuckers that know they wouldn't get their way. But that's a lot of proposals considering we've only gotten 27. 27 amendments out of a proposed 12,000. I also particularly find it interesting that the most recent one was in 1992. So we're coming up on 20 years ago. And it was one that was like a secret inclusion of the original Bill of Rights or something, because it was proposed at the exact same time. September 25th, 1789, same as this one down here, but it was only fucking ratified 202 goddamn years later. And everyone has their opinions about all of these ones. Most people don't even remember all of these, and half of them are addressing previous amendments. But these are the amendments we've got, whether you like all of them or not, and some of them I very much don't like. This one is fucking stupid. But what I want to talk about today are the ones that have gotten... Will you fucking... Jesus, mouse. What I want to talk about are the ones that have been proposed that have not been fucking... They're just sitting here. As was shown by the one that was voted in 1992, these can just be plucked out of nowhere because they haven't been fucking... They're just sitting there. They're pending. And there's only a handful of them, so let's go through them. The first one is the Congressional Apportionment Amendment. The Congressional Apportionment Amendment. Fuck me! This is what it says. After the first enumeration required by the first article of the Constitution, there shall be one representative for every 30,000 until the number shall amount to 100, after which the proportion shall be so regulated by Congress that there shall be not less than 100 representatives, nor less than one representative for every 40,000 persons, until the number of representatives shall be around 200, after which the proportion shall be so regulated by Congress that there shall not be less than 200 representatives, nor more than one representative for 50,000 persons. So this is addressing the idea of the House of Representatives, the actual House of Congress that is the one they fuck with all the time, so it's the one that matters. Now, for those of you who don't know, this is basically one of the main reasons why we have the census. But there's like a fucking billion other reasons why we have the census. It's actually really fucking important. But this, in regards to the House of Representatives, this is how you determine how many representatives go to which state, where they go, and then they fuck with it from there, gerrymandering it all to fuck. And then, so it basically gets fucked with from the beginning. But yeah, right now, it's every state gets at least one, and then it's not supposed to exceed 30,000, and then it just gets reproportioned pretty much every time that the census happens. So the way this one works out, as it says right here, since the fucking population has changed, when was this? It was proposed. It was proposed along with the original fucking Bill of Rights in 1789. If it was fucking put in place, according to that, consequently, the number of representatives in the House could have grown to over 6,000. There's already a lot of fucking people in the House of Representatives. Arguably not enough, considering that we have 300 million people. But, 6,000 would be too goddamn much. So, obviously, the math is a bit off on this one. So, I'm going to say that, as fucked as this current system is, 6,000 would be a whole different kind of fucked. But then again... it would also decrease the amount of power that any one representative would have, which would make it a little more representative because it'd be more. So this one's kind of debatable. I don't know. What do you think? Would it be better to have more or fewer? I don't know. But even in here, there's stuff about how the math doesn't quite work out, and I don't know. All right, the second pending amendment to the Constitution, proposed in May 1st of 1810, a little bit later, is the Titles of Nobility Amendment. Because so many people are hoisted fucking royal status upon. Here's what it says. If any citizen of the United States shall accept, claim, receive, or retain any title of nobility or honor, or shall, without the consent of Congress, accept or retain any present, pension, present, pension, or office, or emolument. That's a fucking word, of any kind whatsoever from any emperor, king, prince, or foreign power, such person shall cease to be a citizen of the United States, and shall be incapable of holding any office or trust or profit under them or either of them. Holy shit. And this is still pending, so this could still technically happen, but like, what the fuck would be the point? Like, I get the idea, like, you know, it just happened right after the American Revolution. You're really trying to make sure that no royals come in and fuck with this newly formed revolutionary state. This is not an issue worth fucking amending the Constitution over. It's not fucking worth it. I personally don't see anything wrong with having a royal member of another country or any kind of status or anything like that. It's not even just royalty, but like pension? Pension? You can get that at a fucking desk job. If you get some sort of status in another country, you should still be able to be a citizen of this one. This one just makes no fucking sense. This one should just be getting rid of. The next one's called the Corwin Amendment. This one was proposed in March 2nd, 1861, so you know this one had to do with slavery. This is what it says. No amendment shall be made to the Constitution which will authorize or give Congress the power to abolish or interfere within any state with the domestic institutions thereof, including that of persons held to labor or service by the laws of said state. So this one would basically destroy the entire fucking country, wouldn't it? Basically, this is not explicitly about slavery, but the text essentially just says the Constitution can't change any of the rules of the state, including anything to do with labor or services. It doesn't say exclusively pertaining to, it just says including it. But of course, this with the domestic institutions thereof. What is a domestic institution? If it's something that occurs within your state pertaining to states' rules, that could literally mean anything. So obviously this was targeted about slavery, given the word slave appears in this Wikipedia article more than fucking the word the, probably. This would have been a disastrous amendment on so many levels. Obviously, in regards to slavery, but in addition to the idea of having a federal government at all, this would basically make the Constitution a moot thing. This amendment alone, which is still pending, it could be voted on theoretically at any time. You get enough fucking red states, just need what, 26? There would be a legal battle for forever about this. But yeah, I think it would just need a majority of states, and I'm fairly fucking certain there's a majority of the states right now that would be like, oh yeah, just make my state its own separate country except for all the funding I get from the federal government. That'd be great. So let's do that. It's fucking nuts. This is a disaster of a fucking amendment. This needs to be stricken from the goddamn record before some fucking ridiculous right-wing bullshit governors decide to get stuck in their craw about it. All right, number 4 of 6, now that I know how to count, the Child Labor Amendment. This sounds fun. It was proposed in 1924. Okay, that makes sense. Text is in 2 sections. The first section, the Congress shall have the power to limit, regulate, and prohibit the labor of persons under 18 years of age. And section number 2, the power of several states is unimpaired by this article, except that the operation of state laws shall be suspended to the extent necessary to give effect to legislation enacted by Congress. What? Hold up. All right, so Section 1 says that Congress, the United States Congress, can regulate labor as pertaining to minors. Makes sense. Absolutely should be the thing. But the second section basically says that this amendment would mean nothing unless the laws of the states were suspended to the extent necessary. So you'd basically adding in this second section can give rise to all the fucking people who are like, oh, you take away all states' rights? That's the only way you're gonna get this fucking child amendment thing. And like, what the hell? Way to defeat your fucking argument immediately. This would get fucked over in the court and like immediately. Wait, so this has already been ratified by 10 states? Or it's already been ratified by a number of states and only needs 10 more to become to get in? Holy shit. Obviously, child labor is illegal in this country. It still happens, unfortunately, because, humanity is fucked. So something better obviously came along. I don't know the specific law. I'm not a fucking constitutional scholar or anything. But, yeah, this would be a weird fucking thing to get ratified again. I don't know what the hell. All right, here it starts to get a little more complicated. We got the Equal Rights Amendment proposed in 1972. It had an initial ratification period ending in 79, extended to 82. It failed, but the status has been questioned? What the fuck does that mean? All right, Section 1 says, equality of rights under the law shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex. I agree with that. That should be a thing. Section 2, the Congress shall have the power to enforce by appropriate legislation the provisions of this article. Makes sense. Got to enforce it somehow. Section 3, this amendment shall take effect 2 years after the date of ratification. Okay, gotta give people time to get in. Why the fuck did it fail? Oh, wow, that's a colorful map. A lot of people fucking going all over the place with it. Oh, so a bunch of states decided to go ahead and do it themselves because the federal government can't do shit. Oh, that's cool. But yeah, this should definitely be a law. There's literally no fucking reason why any of these things should be a problem, except for people who are scared of losing power that they shouldn't have had in the first fucking place. All right, here's the last one. The District of Columbia Voting Rights Amendment, proposed in 1978, and ratification period ended in 85. The amendment failed. So I don't know why it's still... Or maybe it's just listed in here. I don't know. Could it be resurrected? I have no idea. What does it do? Section 1. For purposes of representation in the Congress, election of the President and Vice President, and Article 5 of this Constitution, the district constituting the seat of government of the United States shall be treated as though it were a state. Oh, nice! Section 2, the exercise of the rights and powers conferred under this article shall be by the people of the district constituting the seat of government and shall be provided by the Congress. Sure, that makes sense. The 23rd article of the amendment of the Constitution of the United States is hereby repealed. Holy shit! Repealing the 23rd article of the Constitution. Okay, well, let's get back to that one. Let's finish reading. Section 4, this article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by the legislatures of 3/4 of the several states within 7 years of the date of its submission. What? Oh, that's... Okay. That's basically just its time limit. Okay, so what is the 23rd Amendment to the Constitution? The 23rd Amendment of the Constitution grants the District of Columbia electors in the Electoral College. I think D.C. should be a state, personally. I think D.C. should be a state, Puerto Rico should be a state, or rather, Puerto Rico should be given the choice whether it should be a state or not. Whatever they choose should be fine. I think we should also give Hawaii the chance to decide if they want to leave or not. Like, I think they deserve the right to choose at this point. But yeah, our territory should be given full... We shouldn't have any citizens of the United States that aren't represented as full citizens with voting power because they just happen to live in a place that we don't see as fully states, which makes no sense. And the District of Columbia is just sort of stuck in the middle with, like, no representation. So yeah, they should definitely be given fucking voting power. What the hell? So a bunch of states did ratify it, and a bunch of other states just sort of ignored it. A bunch of northern states, and by the looks of it, a bunch of blue states ratified it, and a bunch of red states didn't. Huh, I wonder why. Maybe it's because DC skews largely Democratic, and so, no shit, the Republicans don't want to give more votes in this fucked up system to their opposition, because they know if it was a straight up and down popular vote, they'd fucking lose every time. All right, so those are the 6 unratified amendments, 4 of which could definitely show up at any point, 1 of which seems questionable, 1 of which probably never will. I don't know if any of them ever actually will. I think we would have to rework the math on the first one, but I'm willing to think about it in order to decide whether I'd support it or not. The title of nobility one, no, that's fucking stupid. The Corwin Amendment should be fucking abolished forever. That should never be allowed to be on. That should not be there. That is terrifying. That is a Damocles hanging over the state of our whole country. Jesus Christ. The Child Labor Amendment, that's prohibited. So I don't know what that would add or take away or change if it were added. I'm against fucking child labor for sure. So if adding this to our current set of laws would make that more of a solidified thing, then yeah, I'd support that 100%. But that would come down to implementation and the interpretation of the law. So I would need to look into that a bit more. I don't know if that would interfere with our current child labor laws. I don't know if that interference would be a good thing. Maybe they don't cover enough. I don't know. I'm not an expert. So I need to look into that more. And if you're interested in it, I would encourage you to do the same. Equal Rights Amendment, that should have been a law immediately. That should be a law now. That should be voted on every single fucking time, and anyone who votes against it should be shamed out of fucking public life forever. And then the District of Columbia Voting Rights Amendment, absolutely. They should not only be given that, but then they should be given statehood as well. So there you go. Those are the unratified amendments to the Constitution of the United States of America. I hope you found this somewhat interesting. I find it interesting, especially considering, it's proven that these things aren't just sitting there doing nothing, because the last one was part of the original fucking slate of stuff proposed for the Bill of Rights, and it showed up 202 years later to regulate a Congress that is so radically different than the one that it was proposed under that it still made it in. So yeah, these things aren't just nothing to be ignored. These things matter and can become relevant at any time, especially now that we have voting rights being attacked on such a widespread basis that, oh God, it's terrifying. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you found this interesting. Let me know if you did, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye, everyone.